Hello, designers. Happy New Year and welcome to this class. Today we'll be talking about the trick called confusion. I said we'll be talking about the trick called confusion. The trick called confusion. This is the new year. And in the new year, there are things that I have tagged as year stoppers. Things that will go out of their way and do everything in their power to stop you this year. And one of such things is what I call confusion. Confusion is a stopper. And that's why we're discussing it today. It is very tricky. If confusion is not a stopper, tell me why, with everything you went through last year, so one would have thought that you would have understood and figured out a way to ensure it doesn't repeat again this year. Yet, you're still confused. If confusion is not a stopper, tell me why, with everything you know about that idea, you still haven't started that business. You're still confused. If confusion is not a stopper, tell me why. You know so much. Yet, when it's time to explain and prove what you know, you start having memory loss. Every one of us, and a lot of us, are confused about our work, our business, and the directions we need to take. Listen to me carefully. In fact, repeat it after me. Confusion is not normal. And you and I should never normalize it. Confusion is a design issue. Confusion is not normal. A friend of mine said to me a few years ago, he said that, "Man, Charles, you don't understand. In my family, we don't really know book like that. That's why we're not moving forward." And I said to him immediately, I said, "That is a lie. That is a big lie right there." It is a lie because I know my brothers. My brothers in Enugu, my brothers in Anambra, my brothers in Imo, my brothers in Lagos. Doing so well. A lot of them didn't even go to school. A lot of them don't even know how to read. So I'm so sorry. It's not about whether you know book or not. Confusion is confusion. And we should not ignore it and we should not normalize it. There are three things I want you to know about confusion. Number one, it is not a personal trait. Confusion is not part of your character. It's not true. You know how some people say, it's just how it is. It's a lie. Two, confusion is not a phase in your life. And it's just this phase. And after this phase, I will start understanding what I'm saying. It's a lie. Confusion is not a phase. It's not a phase in your life. Next, confusion is not a signal telling you that you are trying to figure things out. It is not true. Confusion is a design issue. That's what it is. It's a design issue. And you need to see it for what it is. I explained in the previous class that design is simply how things work. Design is the thinking behind structure. Design is the thinking, is the thought process behind everything successful that we see. That is design. And confusion is a design issue. It's a design issue. So when next you find out that you're confused in any area of your life, don't ignore it and don't normalize it. When next you find out that you're training members of your team, yet they don't get it, don't ignore it and don't normalize it. When next you find out that you're stuck in any particular area of your life and you don't have any clear path to move forward, don't ignore it and don't normalize it. When next you find out that you are working so hard and you have nothing to show for it, which is bringing a certain level of confusion to your life, don't ignore it and don't normalize it. It doesn't mean that you're lazy. It doesn't mean that you're stupid. It doesn't mean that you're unmotivated. It is a signal pointing you to a design problem. That's what it is. It is a signal pointing you to a design problem. You see, our brain is a very powerful tool. A very, very powerful tool. When the brain doesn't sense an activity as important, urgent, or necessary, it would interpret that activity differently to us. I'll give you an example. For instance, if your plan this year is to improve on your finances, and the way you're going about it, the brain doesn't interpret it as urgent, as important, or even as necessary. When it is time for you to act, or when it is time for you to invest, you will start having mixed feelings. You will start having mixed reactions. Why? Because the brain doesn't interpret that event or that activity as important, urgent, or necessary. But that's confusion right there. That's confusion right there. There are 4 questions you need to ask yourself anytime you feel that you're confused, so that you can get clarity. There are 4 questions. Question number 1. What is unclear? What is unclear? Unclear. What is unclear in that situation? What is unclear? Second question. Because when you know what is unclear, you can start knowing how to bring clarity to it. Right? Question number 2. What is undefined? What is undefined? What is undefined? What in that situation is undefined? You know how sometimes you can be in a relationship, and you've been in that relationship for 5 years, for 7 years, for 10 years, but there is nothing defined. What is undefined in that situation? Question number 1 is what is unclear. Question number 2, what is undefined? Next question is what is assumed? What is assumed? You know how we make assumptions. We assume that something is a particular way or something is not in a particular way. We assume something. We assume it because it's not explained. So the question you're going to ask is what is assumed in that situation that is not explained? Right? Next question. What exists in my head or in the head of my partner or in the head of my colleague or in another person's head that is not clearly explained? Because a lot of time, there's a difference between what is said and what is heard. You may think that you're saying something, but another person is hearing something different. So sometimes you need to clarify and ask questions. Do you understand what I am saying? You ask the next person. If the person is assimilating, if the person is understanding what you're saying, so that if there's another way you can explain it, so that it becomes clearer. So sometimes we hold things in our head that is bringing confusion to the next person, to bring confusion to our team members, bringing confusion to even ourselves. Right? So this last question is what exists in my head or in the head of another person that is not explained. You need to do this because clarity is not accidental. Clarity is what? Is designed. From the beginning. From the beginning. It's designed. Whatever outcome you want to see is from that outcome you are designing. You want to ensure that you end this year financially stable. From the beginning of the year, you will start designing it that way. Because clarity is not accidental. It's not accidental. Clarity is not a luxury. When clarity comes, stress reduces. When clarity comes, confidence increases. When clarity comes, results improves. Not because you changed. You didn't change. Not because you did anything different. But you redesigned it. You redesigned it. The design improved. When the design improves, the outcome will improve. So yes, I take the first word back. You did something different. You did something different. You redesigned it better. You redesigned it better. Because clarity is not a luxury. It's not a luxury. It is a requirement. So when next you find out that you're confused in any area of your life, don't ignore it. Don't normalize it. Redesign it. Redesign it. Because everything is designed. I hope that this was useful to you. If you're not following me yet, follow me. If you like to see more of this content, click on the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next class. Have a nice day.